So, before we begin, HD, give me your best merchant voice.
Hello, stranger.
Okay, Jontas, can
What
you
are
do
you buying?
can you do me the pleasure as well?
Oh god. I do a good Ada. No, I'm joking. What are you
I'll
selling?
buy that at a high price.
Hello, stranger. That's my impression.
Hello, stranger.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Game On. This is going to be a very special episode because we have a special guest. But as always, our resident co-host, some might even say that this resident is evil, HD Guy. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. That just reminded me of that meme. Get behind me, Ashley. This resident's about to get evil.
True. The
Leon and
internet.
Ashley.
The internet does give lots of gives us. Ah, look at me. I'm already. It provides. Yes, we're not even a minute in, and I'm already stuttering. And special. Yes, and special guest and friend of the channel, Mr. It is Jontas. So why don't you introduce yourself, give us a bit of a introduction, and do that selfless self-promo while you're at it.
Well, I am indeed human. I've been human for about 29 years. But yeah, just another content creator that makes too many videos for like 3 people who watch them. And yeah, UK, another one of the plat-pad people. Yeah, pretty much just your general boring white man.
Yes, very descriptive.
Yeah, so I would basically fit into the NPC category.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sure, most of us would.
Correct. You know, that's something a zombie would say.
It is. Like, don't, I'm not conspicuous at all.
Well, okay. Well, it's a joy to have you both on. Thank you for being here. Now, this podcast topic is remakes and/or remasters.
Remasters.
Yes. So let us start with the granddaddy of remakes. That's all the fuss at the moment.
Yes.
Spyro 3.
SpongeBob.
Yes. Love it.
For those who don't know,
the character in Sparks this time around.
Yes. For those who don't know, that is sarcasm. Now we're going to be going straight into Resident Evil because if one thing, we cannot have a Game On podcast without talking about Resident Evil. So,
100%.
Exactly. So, gentlemen, Resident Evil thoughts? Jontas, you take this one on.
Well, yeah, I just did my review, so I'm fresh off all that stuff as well, so it's a good idea. But yeah, I am at a unique position where I didn't like the original. I'm very minority, didn't like Resident Evil 4 that much, changed the formula a bit too much for me as a kid. And recently, I found out I've got ADHD, so change is very difficult, but, being a teenager, and it's like, oh, my favourite game's changed. like that kind of thing. And I found it a bit cheesy and campy. Not like I can't appreciate that. It was a bit too much. Like, it was the Matrix area, bullet time, quick time events, slow down. And and I was never super fond of Leon. But since then, I've played other games, it became the standard. And 5 became my favourite of the kind of second era because of the co-op. So the remake, I had no kind of hype. No kind of expectations went into it, and it's probably the highest rated game I've done a review for now. Not quite 10, not quite 10, because I think the villains were a bit They weren't quite the same. I don't know. Salazar, for instance, for Ramon, he just looked like Queen Elizabeth's Ewok cousin. So he was still silly,
for sure.
But Sadler I felt like was put on the wayside. Like, it was like, this is the biggest villain of the entire game, and it's like we didn't meet him till the end.
Till the very end. 100%, the last 2 chapters. 2 or 3.
Yeah. Apart from that, though, combat, visuals, everything they added, changed, even things they cut were better, in my opinion. So yeah, Capcom, this is like the standard.
Much.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, very good, very good. HD, remind me to unsubscribe from Jontas. He doesn't like the original. This is heresy.
Knew that was coming.
All right, but okay, HD, your thoughts. And by the way, I just remember this. HD guy at the time of shooting this, has gotten the platinum for Resident Evil. So congratulations!
Correct,
I'm
all right.
just about.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, nice. What are you doing last? Gun Fanatic or your hardcore run?
I think I've got the S plus things, but you can do it.
Yeah.
If you do professional S plus, it gives you them all.
Ooh, okay. So you're going for professional S plus, and that's first playthrough, eh? That's not New Game Plus.
It isn't. It will be new game. It'll be a fresh save, but
yes.
Lovely Capcom has given us tickets to upgrade the guns
early.
I was going to do the thing, you get to chapter 7, you've got the sweeper, you've got the hand cannon, you can infinite them up. But I thought, hey, for £1, I'll chuck them an extra quid.
You know what? I'll be lying if I told you I didn't consider it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't don't subscribe to microtransactions. I just play the base game for almost anything. But I was I want actually infinite hand cannon as well as a Chicago sweeper, because I find they both have pros and cons to having them. So my hardcore S plus run, I use the hand cannon. And it has absolutely no range. Danny, you did tell me.
It's basically a single shot. It's like sniper rifle shotgun, isn't it? Yeah.
Without range, and but it's one shot, of course. But the Chicago sweeper, man, I just kept the R2 button in, and I just sprayed and prayed everything. and it just staggers. It staggers, which helps. So enemies won't attack while you're shooting them. So
correct. The hand cannon. Sorry. The hand cannon is awesome because you tear people in half, but literally you can literally miss from close range.
Absolutely, yeah.
But anyway, yes, your thoughts on the remake.
So thoughts on the remake. So I think it's also key to mention that I feel very similarly to Jonna. Resident Evil 4 I played once back in the day on PS2, one playthrough, got most of it in but forgot most of it, right? You get all the key sort of moments in. And I decided it's not that I didn't like it, I wasn't as hyped about it as everybody was. I'm an OG trilogy RE fan, I mean that should essentially explain it, that's
understandable.
That, and that was so kind of just deviated from that. But I acknowledge it as being a good game. So anyway, I played it, the original 2005 one, before the Resident Evil 4 remake dropped. And I actually 100%ed that like the week before, so the Sunday before the launch of the remake. So that game was so fresh in my memory when I started the remake. So, but I think that also just amplified how much I appreciate this remake, just for how accurate they actually, remade this game. In the sense, like it was fresh, but it was so similar. Like the village itself is the exact layout, exact as the original game. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Correct. So it was very, very faithful remake. I absolutely loved it. Every single second. I mean, the plat can be a bit cumbersome for someone that's maybe not into multiple playthroughs of a game.
It was minimal. 3 or 4, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think the interesting thing was, and it's the first time I've seen this in a trophy list, where difficulty trophies don't stack. So I think that was quite interesting, that you have to do, well, besides professional, like Joanna said, if you do professional S, weirdly enough, it will stack for both standard and hardcore, but you can't do hardcore and get standard, which sucks a bit.
That's a bit silly.
I think they could have been a bit more dynamic in the type of playthroughs. Like, one of my most coveted platinums is Resident Evil 1 Remake. Right? But the number, you need to do it in about 6 or 7 playthroughs as well. It's a lot of playthroughs. But I mean, the one is like, it's a knife-only playthrough, right?
Oh,
There's
God.
one, when you finish that, you get invisible enemies playthrough.
Yeah.
And you play it on the hardest mode, and all the enemies in the game is invisible. You can only see them in reflections. So if you're like in a basement and there's water on the floor, you'll see the zombie, but you won't see anything. You'll just hear the moans, or you'll see them in the mirror. Anyway, so you have to finish it, and it's not like a hard difficulty. You have to finish that, and then there's different types of playthroughs. Anyway, I think the plot of Resident Evil 4 is a bit cumbersome. But the game, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Mercenaries is kick-ass. I was playing it a little bit before I jumped online with you guys. I think they can... They've got a good base there, but they need to build on it. The Mercenaries.
I can jump in here if it's alright to talk about Mercenaries, because this...
Of course, go on.
Well, yeah, I was going to say... Mercenaries, I remember vividly in the original RE4 had some sort of laser hand cannon thing. When you did, unless that was a mod I saw, but I remember that being a reward. But yeah, it's a lot easier. I got S ranks on all of my first runs.
Dude, yeah, 100%. They are super easy
broken, and I accidentally unlocked the hand cannon, so I didn't have to do it in the main game, which is cool. But at the same time, I was like, oh. No need to do professional, normal now.
I was so happy. Imagine
putting yourself.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, imagine putting yourself through professional S plus
to
get hand cannon.
Imagine you got that.
He went and got the cat ears, then came back and did it with the chicken hat and everything. Was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Now, imagine you were one of those people that got that platinum the day before Mercenaries dropped. And you just suffered through professional. The next day, Mercenaries here, and you can get the hand cannon.
Oh, bless. I'm sure there's someone raging online. It's like, oh, why are you making it so easy?
100%.
But anyway, rage is good. So, could we say that Resident Evil 4 remake is like the benchmark when it comes to remakes?
Man, I wouldn't say benchmark.
Yeah.
So you go, Jonah.
Sorry, no, I'll just let you finish. I'm probably going to say the same thing.
All right, take it away.
Look, I wouldn't call it the benchmark. I'll call it the high point. I'd say I wouldn't know what to call a benchmark really, but the benchmark should just be like a good remake. This I feel is amazing remake made by fans. This was given meticulous love and care. And they knew exactly what the fans wanted. So this is the pinnacle of remakes. Benchmarks for me is the middle point, I don't know if I'm understanding that right.
But by benchmark I mean that like when a company does a remake, that they like
that's what they should model it after. Yeah,
correct. Yes,
absolutely. They can try.
What do you think, Jonathan?
Pretty much what I was going to say is like, a benchmark for me would be the recent remakes I've played, stuff like Crash Bandicoot, Destroy Humans, Dead Space. Now this is something I brought up in my review. I think Dead Space is there's two kinds of remakes, isn't there? There is a remake that is one for one, visually improved and just quality of life stuff, the odd change here or there to make the game more in line with modern contemporary stuff.
Correct.
And then there's Resident Evil 4, which takes liberties, cuts things, adds things, does quite things differently. And for me, I loved Dead Space back in the day. I thought it was a better game than RE4, but with the remakes, I think Dead Space remake played it too safe.
Yes.
I think
agree.
the problem was the environments got samey very quick. The enemies are all the same. I think they had a lot of opportunity to really change that up. And I know they did with like showing Isaac's face and voicing him.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they necessarily needed to do that. That wasn't where the issues lay. And I know they go for a certain like sci-fi aesthetic, and that, and I love that. But I think Resident Evil 4 took the liberties like in the right ways. The only bit I think it fails at is something I don't know if they did remake them, didn't they? But the bugs, the annoying bugs, I didn't like them at all. Again, I think a lot of people didn't like them. But I'd say definitely the benchmark is 60-70% of the original game, and then necessary changes.
Yeah,
I think that's the benchmark. Resident Evil 4 was almost perfect. I'm hoping 5 will be perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll get on to Resident Evil 5, but I just want to throw in there that maybe in my opinion, I think maybe Dead Space played it safer because EA.
Yes, yeah,
Could be.
likely.
Yeah.
I'm almost glad that we got both
Oh
types of
yeah.
remakes. Like, I think Dead Space. I think it's what you are wanting to sort of achieve. So just to drive on what you were saying, John, it's like, what type of remake do you want to make? And I think that's what they decided. Might not necessarily be playing it safe, but just, this is a good game. Let's just add quality of life improvements and add certain things in there and just re-release it. Which again also is very, very much EA. Just re-release it. They're like, just make the graphics better and release it. And the team is like,
To be
no,
honest,
let's add some extra stuff in.
I think I'm probably being overly harsh to Dead Space because at least it is a legitimate remake that changed a fair few bits. The
I did.
Last of Us remake, no.
Oh, no,
That is
no.
not a remake.
That's the
because
shameless cash grab. That.
I've said
Exactly.
this multiple times, and I said this in my little podcasting that Platt came on. Like, if they're gonna remake a game from the ground up, why didn't they make that game in line with the show, where the parts of the show made it better than the game? Not saying all of it did, but like, they could have made the game a bit longer, added segments, added long grass and little alternate paths for Joel to go through. They didn't have to go
actually
mad.
remake it.
Yeah.
Actually remake it. Yeah.
It was more like a 4K remaster to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and it's not obviously taken away from what the developers did. And what they did was amazing. But I mean, it wasn't, it's like they didn't, again, it was just a graphical update. So in their mind, they remade it because they built it from the ground up, but it was, it was the same game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the Last of Us Part 1 for some reason just irks me so much because they throw around the remake, and I'm like, really though, is it? Like Dante said, you could have added something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone who makes something amazing and keeps making amazing things doesn't keep calling back to the same old thing over and over again. They have so many good things going for them. They just make better and better things. A bit like like Kojima and Capcom have done with like different stuff. Whereas Naughty Dog keep going, hey, do you remember The Last of Us? Hey, do you remember The Last of Us remastered? Hey, do you remember The Last of Us remake? Like, yeah, you get it. You made
remember The Last of Us HBO show?
Yeah,
Hey.
I love it, but I'm done with that story now. I don't think, unless they do a prequel about Tommy and Joel, I don't think the
Give
third
us the part 3, man. Give the part 3. Where's part 3?
But anyway,
give
I
us
will
factions.
tangent in.
Yes.
I would love to see factions, guys.
Yes,
factions.
That will be a thing.
Well, apparently it's coming. Apparently, I believe
it's
it.
a game apparently.
Oh well, and you know what? It'll probably be packaged in with The Last of Us Part 2 remake,
which I will be getting.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare give them money.
So I can just make myself depressed all over again.
Oh God. Anyway, this talking about The Last of Us is making me depressed already. All right, so keeping in the line of Resident Evil, so I think we can say that Capcom, when it comes to Resident Evil, are killing it with their remakes. Resident Evil 2, 10 out of 10 for me. Still my favorite in the series, and out of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake, I got to say I'll stick with 2. That's just me.
100%.
Now, seeing as the most popular ones, air quotations, have been made, 2, 3, and 4, should Capcom remake other Resident Evils? Because now HD, relax.
Okay, sorry.
I know you're excited. Okay, but chill, my guy. All right. Go. Like the rumor is, all right, the next Resident Evil will either be Resident Evil to be remade of it, or to be remade is Resident Evil 5 or Code Veronica. Should this happen, and which one? HD, I'll give it to you because you're really jumping out your seat.
Ooh, I am. So this is a very difficult question, and I mean the short answer is I'll be happy if we get either.
Okay.
But the reason being is I want it for different reasons. Code Veronica because I'd really love to see. I'm trying to get into it, and I know it's a lot of people's beloved game. They love Code Veronica. It's a lot of people's favorite RE game, believe it or not.
Okay.
Code Veronica. It's usually like the GameCube Resident Evil fans, which is like a whole fan base on its own. No, it's not down. It's a legit thing. It's not like denouncing them or anything, but so I literally played Code Veronica for the first time during COVID, while I had COVID, which is such a weird thing, and I was like
Oy.
all messed up, and I was playing Code Veronica. So I don't know if that had affected me, sort of, Anyway, I didn't finish that flat basically. But I never got into that story. It was so hard to get into it. It's a PS2 game, right? So I'd
Yeah.
love to see that remade for that specific purposes.
Okay, but if you had to choose, if I had to put a zombie against your head, yes. Well, I would say a zombie because it's more PG-13.
I think the more fun game, as a Resident Evil fan and just wanting to explore the lore, I'd choose Code Veronica. But as a more fun game, I think Resident Evil 5, if done right, will be an absolutely amazing game, if not maybe the best remake.
Okay.
If they give it the Resident Evil 4 remake treatment.
All right. So John,
I'm gonna go with sorry, before John goes, because I heard John say earlier that he loves Resident Evil 5.
Okay.
I heard him say that, and I instantly liked him a bit better for that, because that's a great game.
Okay. So John, sorry. Let me just repeat the question again. Should more Resident Evil 5, more Resident Evil games be remade? And if they should, 5 or Code Veronica? And take it away.
I was going to say before I played 4, no, because I feel like 4 is a good stopgap to maybe have a few years off and redo the RE engine, because it's probably hitting its peak now. Because it's been out since 2017. It's been around. So,
could be, yeah.
But I would say at this point, as you've gone so far, and there's still this weird cross-generational thing happening, and next-gen games really aren't next-gen yet, and all that, I'd say do 5 and 6 now. Honestly, just do 5 and 6, because 5 is the one where people don't love it as much because the story isn't as good, and I don't think it's the story that kept people loving the 5. It was the co-op and the action and the setting and the puzzles and everything. So if they can just make the story a bit better, that for me that would be better than 4 already, because the co-op thing adds so much replay value that And as for 6, just redo the whole entire thing.
Oh, that needs to just be remade.
Yeah. And 6 I think should focus on probably like Leon and Jill, with other people being side characters. I think that's what... Because Leon, to be honest, Leon and Chris, I think, are the face of it now, really. But if I could choose any remake, I'm going to say Dino Crisis. So...
Oh, true. We'll get onto that as well. Yes,
or Dead Rising. I think it would be nice to see them do something different, but I think they clearly want to remake the overall story, potentially before they finish the series, and I think 9 and 10 will probably be the last 2 main games, maybe even just 9. But yeah, I can't see them swapping to Dino Crisis or Dead Rising or a new IP until they've remade them all. Because if you have a break, technology will change, they won't all look the same, and you've got the same problem you had before where the game's canon-wise story is there, but the gameplay mechanics are all back and forth, the visuals are better on this one than that one. Like you can already tell the difference between 2 and 4 now.
True.
And I think they just keep doing the remakes for now. What my idea is we'll get 5 next year because it's the anniversary of it, 15-year anniversary.
Okay.
And then they'll take a year off, and then we'll get 9.
Okay.
I think that's how it'll happen.
Oof.
If they stick to the kind of method they've been doing.
Yeah, for me, I think as well. I'm in the same camp that they are on a hot run. So why not remake them? I wouldn't mind if they remade Resident Evil 1 again with the new engine and the over the shoulder. But yeah, I think if I had to bet, it'd probably be either 5 or Code Veronica. It just depends.
100%.
It just depends who makes most noise. But like John just said, if next year is the anniversary,
Yeah.
But now Resident Evil 5. Back in the day, when it was announced, it already got some controversy because of racism, because you're shooting black people, and
white guys shooting black people.
Exactly, white guys shooting black people. Now, as I'll stick my hand in the fire here and say that gamers in general, we don't give two shits about politics. We just want to play an awesome game.
We never saw it that way.
Exactly.
It was a virus in Africa.
Exactly.
I can safely say is like my favorite RE game back in the day. Didn't really care who I was killing.
Exactly.
100%.
And what's the issue with
all
killing
zombies
Spanish?
Are equal.
And we were killing white Spanish men and women in 4.
Exactly. So now everyone's with the idea that Resident Evil 5 will be remade, and now like on TikTok, I've seen people talk about it. Oh, it's going to be controversial because you're in Africa and you're shooting black people, and you're shooting black people that are dressed as tribesmen with their spears and all that, and that can be seen as racist. And I'm like,
could maybe change that. I think, but the general village people, no. I think the tribal people, maybe they'll turn them into plaga, so they've got no kind of skin colors.
Yeah, but I mean,
no distinction.
But we have someone in Africa, HD Guy. So HD Guy, can you confirm that there are a lot of black people in Africa?
You know what? I can confirm this. I can confirm this.
Yes, and so I think that some people more Western forget that there are actually tribes that hunt in loincloth and with spears and all that. So as long as it's done respectfully and not characterizing them, making them cartoonish, I don't have any problem with it.
Absolutely,
but I remember the 5 making them cartoony, but it has been a few years since I played it.
No, I'm not saying the original made them cartoony. I'm just saying, if you, I mean,
I think they handled it well in the original. It wasn't, it wasn't controversial anyway until people made it controversial.
Exactly.
So I think if they handle it with care, they can do it. But I mean, I think you made a very good point, and this could factor into if the game gets remade or not, right? Mm-hmm. Or at least the type of game you'll get. Remade, especially the culture, that's been perpetuated in today's society. Mm-hmm.
Judging by the end of 4,
I don't know if he'll get away with
it. It's directly hinted at with imagery.
Yes. With Wesker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's either they're going to have a gap and they'll do Code Veronica, but Code Veronica happened before 4.
Before 4, correct.
Yeah, unless they change the timeline.
Yeah,
and then they'd have to have Code Veronica happen and then RE5 happen directly after.
I mean, even if Capcom did this the best way possible, people are going to moan and cry racism and all that shit.
I don't think they care, to be quite honest. They know they're not racist.
Exactly.
They'll just put a big-titted lady in and everyone will forget.
There we go.
There we go. Exactly. Game of the year.
Game of the year, baby.
All right.
They did take the ballistic line. I think they're quite...
They did.
They're trying subtly to be a bit more respectful. I did see, while we're talking about it, since we recorded our stuff, the Lily Gao, she responded to all the controversy, and now people are the people who were backing her up are kind of going, hey, wait, we're all 4 people not harassing you and attacking you, but now you're saying people are racist for liking the original Ada, because the original Ada is a stereotypical Asian femme fatale, but that's what they wanted her to be. She's sort of a bit like Black Widow. That's the whole point. Now she's kind of saying, hey, I want to change Ada. We shouldn't be sexualizing her at all. She's not this, she's not that. It's like, now you're going against Ada stands.
If you said nothing, it maybe would have been... But look, I mean, I get what she's saying, but, it's also... This is the thing about having your own interpretation of something that's already beloved. You know what I mean?
True.
It's cool and all, but I mean, don't expect people to like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know what you want to do. So what do you want to do? Do you want to do your thing? Or do you want to create something that people's going to love? You know what I mean? And I mean that respectfully. I mean...
When it comes to established characters, I understand that the voice actors or actors want to, make it their own, but... build on it, don't wipe everything, don't make a clean slate and start something new,
Absolutely. And if Valma has taught anybody anything, is don't alienate, the people of the actual IP that you are making a remake of, or some content about.
I don't understand why companies are doing that, but anyway, it's their money, it's not mine.
It's so weird. Exactly, I was gonna say, you'd think it's about money, right?
Let's make a Scooby-Doo without Scooby-Doo. Let's make a Resident Evil without zombies. Oh wait, they did that village. All right, next question. Okay, so now, seeing as remakes or remasters are a bit of a hot topic, should we as customers want more, or do we want companies to focus more on IPs at the moment? On new IPs, sorry. Jontis, what do you think?
This is hard one because, like, I think capitalizing on nostalgia, if done right, and it's a game that is worth remaking, either because it, did so well originally, or it's, aged poorly but people still want it, or maybe it failed originally and they want to try again. I think that's fine. I think the problem is, if it becomes like we're just getting flooded with remakes, which is what's happening with movies a lot.
True. Mm-hmm.
But it's not like we've not got new IPs. I mean, I saw an argument on Twitter. I mean, that never happened. But there was a guy, an Xbox guy and a PlayStation guy, like, kind of fighting each other, and he was saying, like, the Xbox guy was like, "Oh, Sony don't make new IPs," and it's like, dude, like, have you seen the last 10 years?
True.
Like, you got Horizon, for example. I mean, there's Returnal. I mean, I'm going to struggle with Ghost of Tsushima, but you always struggle when you're on the spot. But there is a lot. Whereas Xbox are like, hey, Gears 5.
Remember Halo?
Remember Fable? That's still coming out. The Outer World. I mean, the Outer Worlds does work, but that was cross-platform for the first one. It's like you don't. Throw rocks in glass houses kind of thing. Like, not saying Xbox don't have games, they do, but it's just like they don't have as Sony's like big blockbusters and Xbox is,
Game
kind
Pass.
of mid-level, Game Pass.
Games as a service.
But generally, remakes, I think they do have a place as long as it's not. It should be like 70% new stuff, 30% rehashing old stuff.
That's fair.
For whatever reason. At the minute, it feels like it's 50% new stuff, 30% online games that are just using online service, and then some remakes. I mean, we happen to have had 2 big remakes in the space of a couple of months.
Oh yeah,
but
2 great ones.
Yeah, I mean, but that's uncommon. Generally, you get 1 remake a year if you're lucky. And I'm talking big AAA games. I mean, I know Destroy Humans I've been playing recently. That was 2019 and 2022. So that was 3 years apart between those sequels THQ did. I mean, Capcom have brought out Village between the remakes, so it's not like they're ignoring the full stuff. They have brought out other games. They are working on other games, so
it's just find that balance.
I just think they're prioritising Resident Evil right now because 1, it's popular, 2, it's making money, and I think 4 capitalised on the speedrunning and replayability a lot more than 2 did. Like 3 did a bit, but it was a shorter game and cut up, and they shouldn't have outsourced it. But 4 really is, hey, do you want to play the game 6 times to get the platinum? That's probably what's going to happen. Someone I know platinumed it in 2 runs because they did professional S+ straight away.
That is, I
impressive.
don't know how that was possible. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it was absolutely mad because they basically knew roughly what to expect, and they're just a mad gamer. They got something like, I think, 9 hours for their first playthrough, so they didn't get the S+, but they got the S, and then they did it again to get the S+. And the first time they did it with just handguns, and they saved all their money.
And knife,
It's like, how? Because they read the trophy list. It's like, I want to make the game fun, so first playthrough, then a mess around playthrough, then certain playthroughs for certain things, and then the hardest playthrough last. That's what I try. I'm attempting to do because I'm planning to make my very first trophy platinum-ish guidey showcase video, and I'm basing that off like what Plat does, what other people we know like Pete and it makes you think like how the hell do people plat these games so quick?
It's crazy. These guys with the guides.
Correct. Okay, damn, that's two playthroughs to get a platinum. Damn, that's impressive. HD.
That is,
what do you think about the remakes and new IPs?
I really enjoy them. I really do, and I think cashing in on nostalgia is a brilliant business move. You are happy, the consumer's happy. You take that kid, that adult, that's adulting, and you take him back to, being a 16-year-old playing a game that he loves for the first time, and then making it better. Man, it's Christmas morning, in the middle of March. So, and we did get 2 fantastic remakes already, Dead Space and Resident Evil now this year, both phenomenal games. Yeah, absolutely love them, platted them both. I wouldn't say do it again anytime soon, but they were good plats. But I do believe in, sort of like oversaturating the market with something. If you look at like MCU and Star Wars, 2 sort of major things that I'm sort of almost done with. Star Wars more than MCU. Star Wars more than the MCU. And I was chatting to a buddy of mine today, and I was saying, be careful what you wish for, eh? Everybody wanted more Star Wars. Everybody wanted more Marvel, and we got it. And we got it, shoved down our throats.
True.
And I think we don't want it anymore. But
yeah, I think what happened
I don't
there.
Want that to, yeah.
Sorry, I just cut you off. I think what happened there is like Marvel got a bit greedy, and they said quality be damned. Just throw everything.
Pump them out.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, that's a good quote. Be careful what we wish for. I think there needs to be a balance. Like Don just said,
100%.
Maybe 30% remakes or remasters, but focus on your new IPs. I think that each company should say, okay, what are our most famous nostalgic games? And you just like have one department allocated to that, and you pump them out it turns them out once every 2 years.
Yeah. Look, I mean, there's another remake waiting in the wings. That I am so pumped of because it's also a classic game that I missed in the PS2 era, but I love the first game, and it is Silent Hill 2. So I am so freaking pumped for that. There's a lot of people that's not pumped because they are not fans of
Konami,
the developer. I played the medium, and it's a great game. It's the only game I've played with them. It's not the best, and I think there's only certain people who enjoy it, but they definitely got, visually it was stunning. It is absolutely stunning. But the world that they created in the medium was fantastic. And I remember playing it and thinking this is very Silent Hill-ish. It's it felt very like spiritual successor of Silent Hill almost.
I have a good opinion on this.
Like Callisto was to Dead Space in a way, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was in the same vein, almost kind of, right? Same but different. But it makes me think that they will probably, I think there's the potential to be fantastic. But I miss that game completely, and a lot of people, feel that this is the best game in the series, and I feel I just can't return to it now. I was watching this dude. I can't remember his name. I'll send you. I'll comment on this. I'll search for it and I'll comment on this video. The name of this guy who does platinum runs. I can't remember his name now.
Okay.
I think it's Godlike Matt. I think like GAWD, Godlike Matt. I think. And he does a Silent Hill 2 platinum run. Oh man, it's the funniest thing you'll ever freaking watch. Okay. It's a 9 out of 10 platinum, by the way. I'll send you that video. But I can't revisit it now. So I really wish to. I'd love this remake to be very accurate. Like if they give it the Resident Evil 4 remake treatment, I'll get to experience this story. So just to wrap that up, basically, I would love to see more remakes, but I'd like for it to be just key games, and I'd like for them to be around for a bit, but not overstay their welcome. Where quality starts dropping and new IPs aren't being made. But then again, be careful what you wish for with new IPs. Speaking about Capcom. You could be giving us a Dino Crisis remake, but what are you giving us? Exo Primal? Who the hell asked
Oh god,
for
don't get me
Exo
started on
Primal?
that. I'll never shut up.
Who asked for that game? No one.
You're giving John his PST. PTSD.
Yeah, it's like the cat that sees Vietnam.
Uh,
That game is literally.
I'm hoping.
One thing Capcom cannot do is online games. Apart from Monster Hunter World, they have no kind of like trickling in Fortnite money. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they're trying to do that.
Reverse, anyone? Anybody? Reverse?
Yeah, what
Oh
happened to
god!
that?
I'll see myself out.
Oh god, no!
I don't even know what's happened to that. I didn't even want that.
It's
I like
swept under the rug.
Resistance. It's like Resistance was okay. Why did it need to go away?
No. Here's a very popular opinion amongst RE fans, right? Why give us Resistance? We have Dead by Daylight, we have Friday the 13th, other games that do that concept much better.
Right off.
You know what I mean? Reverse, even worse. Who the hell asked for just some arena shooter, with poorly created arena shooter, mind you, with a handful of heroes and villains, and what do you achieve from that? Nothing. Everybody, if you want Capcom to make a co-op Resident Evil game, just remake Outbreak. Just do it, and everybody will stand on their freaking heads. Just remake it the way you remake. Yeah, okay. You go back to the benchmark question. Yes, I want Resident Evil 4 to be a benchmark.
Yeah.
They will print money. They will print money if they remake Outbreak.
I've said this about Metal Gear Solid before. Like Konami would print money if they just remade the first
Metal Gear 1.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to it's like you're reading my mind here, Jonah. I actually wanted to games that I want remade outside
hold on.
Resident Evil IPs.
HD, stop. I'm gonna stop you there because as true HD fashion, he jumps all the questions and answers them at once. So I'm gonna stop you and redirect this podcast because we're going everywhere. We're going everywhere. This is crazy, guys.
We are. We're going everywhere.
Chill. All right, chill.
You know, Danny. Know what I get when we talk about it.
I know it's true, and that's why I love you.
I'm up and down my lounge here. Okay.
That's why I love you. So because HD loves to jump the gun, one of the questions was Silent Hill 2 remake, hopeful or cautious. John did say something. He wanted to jump in and add something to what you were saying.
Yeah. So basically, I have no great love for Silent Hill, so that's not nostalgic to me. I've seen people play the originals, and I've tried to play 1 and 2. The Silent Hill 4 The Room is the only one I've really played, which is known as like the worst.
I have no idea why.
And that game scared the crap out of me when I was young, and I don't know what. I think it was like the depression of being trapped and alone.
Yes.
Like it was just horrific.
Yes.
But my opinion of Bloober is very like there's well, I'm not going to assume any genders, but yeah, there's a creator called Murty K, and I did like a collab with them, and they're known for like their Bloober discourse. And I played old Bloober games, like Layers of Fear, and they're remaking that. That's another good segue. And yeah, basically they capitalize on nostalgia, and they are copycats of like other games, sort of, and they go, "Hey, do you remember this game? Our game's like that." And I'm not saying there's not a place for that, or that they're evil people for doing that. So many things copycat things and do it better. Fortnite copied PUBG. You know what I mean? And it got better. But my problem with them, the more and more I play their games, and the more and more you look into it, and it's fine just to play it and enjoy it. Their handling of mental health, especially unaliving people, just in case YouTube picks that up. But yeah, they don't handle it very well, and a lot of people don't like him for that. Also,
interesting.
I think there's just design choices and directions and writing people don't like. I think that's why they're so concerned over Silent Hill 2. But hey, they're not making the story. They're just going, hey, here's the story. They'll probably change the odd little thing like they have with Resident Evil 4 and then go, we're making the gameplay better. We're making the atmosphere better. And they are very good at that.
Okay.
So... but they're normal. Their old games are kind of walking simulators mainly, like Layers of Fear.
Medium is a walking simulator kind of.
So I don't see a major issue. I'm very on the fence. I'm like, I'm not a fan of them, but give them a chance to do something bigger because they've basically been copying these games for years. So just let them remake. Yeah. But I understand people's caution.
So HD, you unhopeful. Jontis is cautious. I've got no horse in this race because I'm not a Silent Hill fan, but because I will admit I'm too scared to play Silent Hill. Like I play Resident Evil's enough for me, and I already I need to play with all the lights on. But I'm sorry, Johnson. Who are these developers called again? Who are making
Bloober Team.
Bloober Team. Yeah. Is it the first time they're making something like this?
The first time they're doing something so big,
the first big game, yeah.
So I'd probably go on cautious then.
Cautious. If you're going cautious, I think you'll go in with the right mindset. I mean, just in general, I'm trying not to be too hyped for things these days. So that's why I said before, even I didn't subscribe to that, Danny. I only saw the first trailer. I had to watch the second trailer for the latest because we had to talk about it, in the last podcast. But that's all I saw. I didn't subscribe to the hype, nothing, and I enjoyed it. And I'm just trying to keep my expectations in check.
I'm not trying to.
I think it's totally fine to be hyped about games nowadays. If people tell you not to be hyped, it's more so that people have been burned like the Cyberpunk stuff.
Oh yes, 100%. I think a healthy amount of hype. You can be excited for a game and not obsess over it.
Correct.
But I'll tell you this much. This is my last thing that I'm going to say about Bloober Team and Silent Hill 2 Remake. I think the fact that Konami is so deeply involved in the original creators like Masahiro Ito, the original character creative artist. I forget his original title, but he did the artwork for the game.
Yeah.
The heart and soul really of of Silent Hill, and Akira Yamaoka, the original composer, was again a large part of Silent Hill's identity is its music.
Yeah.
And if you got those guys involved, I think you already 50% you there.
Yeah.
And then just take the game that they made and just literally remake that. No interpretation, no reinterpretation, none of that shit. Just take the game and remake it.
Take the game from here and just remake it over here, guys.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to take away anything from Silent Hill fans because I want every fandom to eat good. I'm just saying like we've all just said, be hyped. But be cautious because one, Konami, and two, because of this developer whose name I forgot again. I've got the memory of a fish. Okay.
You do. What are we talking about?
Who are you guys? Okay. All right. So, Silent Hill. Hopefully that they don't fuck it up. Please, Konami.
Please.
And so, Konami, right? The bringers of such joy like Metal Gear. Right. So next question would be rumors. Obviously not confirmed. Like rumors we've been hearing, whispers on the internet of other remakes. Now I went looking on the Googles and I couldn't find anything. But the one rumor that I've seen now and then is that there is a planned remake of Metal Gear or Metal Gear Solid 3. So my question is to you guys, and I'll throw this to Jontis when I finish the question. Would we like Metal Gear to be remade or remastered? No, remade. Remasters, no. Remade? Which one? 1 or 3? And what other games would you guys like to see be remade? Jontis.
Okay, so I'm a massive Metal Gear fan. I do know when a franchise just needs to be put down, though, so I don't think we need a new one. I think a remake is fine. Okay. Unless we do a prequel about the boss. I'm just putting that out there.
That'll be nice.
But, yeah, I agree. I think Metal Gear is in a very unique position where they could do Metal Gear remade. They could do Metal Gear Solid 1 remade, or they could do Metal Gear Solid 3, because Metal Gear was the first ever game they did. Metal Gear Solid was the one people know of, like, the first to release PS1.
Yeah.
And then Metal Gear 3 is the first in the timeline. So if they're going to start fresh, I would honestly say I'm happy with 1 or 3 to be remade. If I had to absolutely pick one,
yes,
I think I would ultimately side with 3 slightly.
Wow.
Just because I have fond memories of both, but 3 will potentially take them less work, which means coming out quicker.
Yeah.
Because it's already kind of 3D camera, and with they did like a HD remaster, didn't they? And
I had that.
but only this is my biggest gripe: you cannot have a game featuring Solid Snake or Big Boss if you don't have David Hayter.
David Hayter, correct.
If they haven't got him on board, I'm not bothered, because Metal Gear Solid 5 proved without his voice, his character feels flat. It just doesn't.
John is calling out Konami. I'm not going to buy your game. Let's boycott this. Hashtag no Metal Gear Solid 3. I think the thing is now, like I think we're all in the mindset that we want both games or all games to be remade. But obviously, what should the order be? Because if we go Metal Gear Solid 1, okay, well that makes sense, 1, 2, and 3. But if we go 3, don't you think that maybe that might cause some confusion?
I don't think they'll call it 3. I think they'll just call it Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Just call it Snake Eater.
Or something maybe new. They might just call it like the Cold War or something bland, knowing them. But they need to. I think you'd need to call Metal Gear Solid 1 the Twin Snakes. I think you'd have to call it that.
Like what was that? What was the first remake of it? It was remade on Wii?
It was
on GameCube,
over the top.
Twin Snakes.
Awful.
Yeah.
It just. Yeah, it didn't work. But I think you've got to be very careful with Metal Gear, because it's not like RE. There's a lot of not saying RE doesn't have a lot of lore, it does, but Metal Gear is like grounded in reality with silliness. Resident Evil,
little campiness.
I say Metal Gear is historical context mixed with the supernatural, with the silliness slightly. Capcom and Resident Evil is like a realistic theme, but it's like hyper realistic horror and over the top. I mean, the puzzles and the giant spiders, it's already weirder than Metal Gear in my opinion. Like, just because it's got giant spiders, and that's coming from the Fear, which is a giant human spider pretty much. Like in Metal Gear, but it's different. I think I can see Konami doing it. They're doing it with Silent Hill. And they're remaking the second one, which is the most popular. So if they're going off that, we're gonna get 3.
Yeah,
because 3 is the most popular.
3 is the most popular, 100%. I loved Snake Eater. I can't believe I never finished it though.
And they clearly don't care about numbering.
I never finished it. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think the poll is they do the most popular one first, see how that goes, and then they'll remake the last ones.
They really should have made Silent Hill 1 first.
Silent Hill 1 really needed it, but most work. It's the most work they would have had to do, and they don't want to put a load of effort in.
Yeah, because Konami, it's Konami, and Konami is the worst.
Maybe they tie in. Maybe they do something like they do Silent Hill 3 next, and they tie that in with Silent Hill 1, because she plays Heather Mason, the daughter of Harry Mason from Silent Hill 1.
It's all possible.
So there was that link. There was the link between that two. Yeah.
So HD, what are your thoughts when it comes to remaking Metal Gear, and what games have you heard? If you've heard anything that are being remade?
I haven't heard of anything. I have one that I would like, a very odd one, two very odd ones.
Well, hold that thought.
I'll hold that thought.
Because you're jumping again. I'm gonna come down there and I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah. But I'm asking you a question, guys. Come on, give me a second.
Okay. Go on.
Metal Gear. Nothing will make me happier. Besides another Resident Evil remake, then getting a Metal Gear Solid remake, 1, 2, or 3 to another. A lot of people's favorite Metal Gear, Sons of Liberty, I never played. I played 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Sons of Liberty was a game I didn't like when I was a kid. The more I played it. But playing it back now, and you know everything it's trying to do in the meta, and it's so good.
Yeah, and Raiden was a cool character. Like,
cool tidbit. I've met Quentin Flynn. I got a signed print of him saying "Let her rip." from Rising.
The original
Rising
Rider.
with
Oh, is it
Vengeance?
Rising? Yeah.
Yeah. He seemed a cool dude. He's had a lot of controversial stuff going on about him, so be cautious.
Yeah. Rising wasn't the best though. It was.
He wasn't. No.
Yeah, it wasn't very. But that's a very good point actually. I don't think Rising wasn't made by Kojima.
Platinum Games, I think.
Yeah. So hear me out. Nothing will make me happier. But if Hideo Kojima is not heading it up, it's not going to be Metal Gear.
Yeah,
It's like making Nightmare on Elm Street without Robert
HD. It's time to let him go. HD. Okay, he's not coming back.
I will never let it go. I will never let it go. We had Silent Hills waiting in the wings.
Oh shit! Yeah,
and they cancelled that shit.
Oh
man, single best game announcement ever. Silent Hills by Hideo Kojima through PT.
I'm telling you, the person there who decided to fire Kojima is kicking himself now. Yeah, because that game would have printed money.
It would have printed money. And the thing is like this, and this is one thing I'll never forgive Konami for, is for sticking Kojima at the Game Awards. He wasn't at the Game Awards when Metal Gear won. And they removed his name from there's a game by Hideo Kojima. They removed that from the artwork of the game and all that shit. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that was
how you going to do a boy like that?
Yeah, that was being spiteful.
That's very spiteful. And, but yeah, it's because Kojima is one of those, he's like the Quentin Tarantino of gaming, right? In the sense, like, he has a story he wants to tell, and it is very meticulous in the way he tells his stories. It's not just the story, it's how he tells it. And he's involved in the editing, he's involved in the soundtrack, like the score, and then the music that plays in the game. You know what I mean? It's very hands-on with the actors. Visually, he does his own thing. So a lot of the DNA of Metal Gear is Hideo's DNA.
Kojima.
You know what I mean? So
I think he has the George Lucas problem, though. Because the prequels are proof that you should never let a director have 100% control. And I agree that Death Stranding, without its all-star cast and Kojima's name, would have been a flop. And it kind of was, sort of, already with that. And I think he went too far, and no one said, hey, pull this back a bit, dude. I think that was... So we'll see when he does a third new IP, if he was a one-hit wonder. Because Death Stranding, to me, it's good. I've played it once. I don't have any rush to ever go back to it again. Whereas Metal Gear, I could play all day.
True.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I actually have Metal Gear for the PS1 originally.
So do I.
Correct. Yeah. Right. So, moving on. Well, let me see. I actually lost my trail of thought. Now where are we? Okay. So, moving on. What have been our favorite remakes, remasters in the past years, and in these past years, HD? Okay, excluding now Resident Evil, because we've spoken that to death. Excluding Resident Evil and Dead Space, other remasters or remakes that you've played that you enjoyed?
Oh man, like nothing can sort of come to mind now for some other reason. Like, do you have any examples there?
Okay, well, for me, okay, I'll say mine too, and then I'll give it to Jontis, and maybe you'll juggle your memory. For me, I say the remaster of Crash was very good.
Oh yes.
The only f up they did there was that they kept threes jumping for all three games, and threes jumping is very different to ones jumping originally. So that did cause a bit of confusion, but in the end, good game. Spyro as well. I enjoyed this. I love that game. Though the first one is good. Second one, and the third one, I didn't. But hopefully, the Spyro remastered does to Spyro what the Crash remaster did for Crash 4, as in Crash, it sold well now, and Crash 4 came out. So I hope that will happen with Spyro, because I think it's a good platformer to keep on.
Absolutely.
Jontis, what are remasters, remakes in this last year or past years that you like?
I definitely like the Crash trilogy remakes. 3 being my personal. 1 is the most nostalgic and hard. 2, I've not got a lot of nostalgia for because I didn't really play it and I don't really enjoy it as much. But 3 Warped hands down. I really did like Resi 3 Remake for all it was. I know it wasn't much, but I platinumed that in 9 days. It was so fun. I've got S rank on every mode.
I did it in 2.
Yeah, it's fun to play. It's a great game, just a poor remake.
True.
I think in terms of other remakes like Destroy Humans 1 and 2, one of the
I
highest...
remembered one now.
Okay, hold that thought.
One of the most anticipated remasters I actually have. I've actually interviewed the community manager, one of the developers for my uni stuff, and there will be a video on it in future.
Okay.
Does anyone remember Hogs of War?
Oh, yes.
So there is a new version from the original devs and some of the new people called Hogs of War Lardcore. Yeah, Lardcore. And it's coming, and it's very in alpha at the minute. And it's, if you can follow their Twitter, I'm plugging them out of because it's a cool thing. And it's going into Kickstarter soon, and it will be on PlayStation with the possibility of more if they make enough money. Nice. So that's something I'm really keeping an eye on. That's probably going to be like 2024, 25.
Okay.
Apart from that, I was quite disappointed with the remake of The Last of Us. Because it was just too safe. Dead Space, I appreciate it. Overall, I feel like it wasn't necessary as much as Resident Evil 4. In terms of the future, I mean, what remakes have we got coming?
We have a very prominent one coming also this year, besides Silent Hill 2. And this is, Johnny did jog my memory now.
Okay.
One remake of the past few years that I played that I absolutely loved. And this might be the second best remake.
Okay.
Resident Evil 4. Oh no, that was a good one. That was a good one, but not that one.
Demon Souls?
Guys. Final Fantasy VII was a phenomenal.
See, I never played the original.
Absolutely phenomenal. Dude, the original for me is like, it's like a core part of my being. Like if you watch the movie Inside, I think it's Inside Out, where that characters and you get the different emotions and they have memories and stuff. So they're core memories.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation is one of the core memories, and one of the games that I'm playing on my PlayStation in that core memory is Final Fantasy VII. Anyway.
See, for me, that's Metal Gear, so I get that.
Metal Gear is really good. But that one for me, and the way they paid homage to the original, but added to it, because that one is even more of a remake than what Resident Evil 4 was.
True,
so Resident Evil 4 kept a lot of the look and feel of the original game, just with upscale graphics.
The generational difference is going to be like Metal Gear's remake. It's going to be leaps and bounds.
Yeah, leaps and bounds. Remember how small little freaking polygon figures there was in Final Fantasy VII, and it was so emotional still, and the soundtrack was beautiful. It's like a classic Final Fantasy soundtrack is.
It's why I think remaking older games are better. Because when you get PS2 to PS5, there's clearly a visual upgrade, but it's still the core mechanics of the same kind of camera angles, same kind of combat, just much more like nuanced and changed. PS1 was like a whole different thing. Going back to that and stuff like that. But
that's a gold mine.
My biggest gripe with that remake, though, because I don't have the nostalgia, the fact it's only part 1 is really odd.
Yeah, that's the only issue I have with it.
I was gonna jump in and say that as well.
It's just like, I get it's too big, because it was like 4 discs, but
that's what she said.
Just wait. Just wait, and then bring the whole thing together.
Yeah. So it's literally just Midgar that takes place in this game, which is the first out of these 4 discs. I think it was 3 discs, actually, because Final Fantasy VIII was 4, if I remember, which is my favorite Final Fantasy. But 7, it was absolutely amazing, and they took something that was... There was the base story there, but they expanded on everything so well, and they added so much to it. But it was done with like the same amount of love that Resident Evil 4 remake was given. You know what I mean? You could see this was paid real homage. And like I said, the only issue I have is that it's split into 2 games. And that's the remake that's coming, or 3 games. The Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, they added in Zack from Crisis Core, which is
they said it's going to be a trilogy remake now, so it's not counting Crisis Core. There's Rebirth, and then there's going to be another one.
Oh, good Lord.
Wow. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. That game was epic. It also has one of the longest sort of end boss battles. The end boss battle essentially is like 5 or 6 boss battles after each other across the last 2 chapters. It's epic. But it's really good. So, and that I'm looking forward to that game coming out later this year. Actually.
Yeah. I think maybe if we do get a Metal Gear Solid remake, I think they'll probably. My fear is that they'll do the same. It'll be split into 2 or maybe 3 games, which I hope they don't do.
Unless they do it as. I don't know, where would you split that game, Sniper Wolf? I don't think... The thing is, Final Fantasy, I think that was like open world-ish for the time. Unless they really make Metal Gear Solid 1 bigger, it's got to be... I think Metal Gear Solid 1 will be more like a Resident Evil 4 remake. It'll be like point to point to point, different locations. If they do end up having it too big, the only thing I could think is they turn Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 into one game and basically have them back to back as part 1, part 2 of a tale.
Okay. They should just have part 1, man. They're able to do that. Just make Shadow Moses. Everything just takes part on Shadow Moses Island, right?
Yeah, just call it Metal Gear Shadow Moses or something.
Shadow Moses, there we go. That has the potential to be absolutely amazing. So, I mean, if anybody else makes it, and Kojima's not involved, it needs to be big fans of Kojima and understand his body of work, you know?
True. I mean, Kojima is an acquired taste. I always say that.
Yeah.
Man, I was hooked on my first bite. No.
Okay. HD, goddamn it, HD. Right then, and last question to end the podcast. What games would we like to see get the remake remaster treatment? We'll start with Dino Crisis because everyone's going to say it. So Jontas, why does Capcom hate Dino Crisis fans, and why do they hate money?
I genuinely, I don't think they've got it out for them. I think they're so focused on Resident Evil, and that's the one that took off. I think they're a bit worried about going to Dino Crisis. I also think the time for dinosaurs being popular kind of took a swing with Jurassic World coming out, and they kind of missed the window for it. But in my personal opinion, we've already seen the Raptors. We know Resident Evil 3, you know the Hunters? Remodel them. Pretty much the same animations.
Yes,
so,
true.
In the hospital, I think there's a way to make... Obviously, dinosaurs I don't think will ultimately be as scary as zombies. But to be honest, Resident Evil isn't even scary anymore. Village in sections had scares, but they went for the psychological stuff. So what you need to do is make Dino Crisis like RE4. It's action horror.
I was just sorry, I'm cutting you off there. I was just about to say that one of the good things about Resident Evil 4 remake is how it just 1 minute you are John Wicking your way through the village, and then the next you in the lab and you're hearing the regenerators growling at the end. Correct. The switch from action to horror is done extremely well in that game, and they should do the same for Dino Crisis. I mean, it doesn't have to be scary, like you say. Just give it. They can do something. Come on.
Absolutely, but I mean, if you remember Dino Crisis, the original one, while it was scary, it wasn't scary like Resident Evil. It was a bit more actiony. It was also Capcom sort of experimented a bit there. You could walk and aim with Regina. Something you couldn't do in the original games. It had a mixture of pre-rendered and 3D backgrounds because you also had the tracking camera, something that in Resident Evil they only added in Code Veronica. Because it was a static camera in 1, 2, and 3. So they experimented a bit, and for the pure reason that the dinosaurs was a bit more faster paced than You know, there's more like shock value. Like you open up a door and you walk in, and the velociraptor's charging you.
I still feel there is some terrifying moments in that game. Like, so you know when you're doing the radio call outside and you're talking to Rick, and then all of a sudden you can hear the T-Rex next to you creeping up. Like, and when you blast through the window, like I think there's room for them to do it. I think it will just be right. We've milked RE as much as we can. We've got to put it down for a bit. Now what do we do? And that's when they'll do it. If they don't do it, fine. But I genuinely think that at least make a small profit out of curiosity alone. For people who don't know it. Hey, there's this Resident Evil style game coming out that's got like crazy infected dinosaurs. Like, you could make it in the same universe. You've got clones in the RE universe. Clones basically mean you can clone DNA. Instead of having time travel, make it you clone fossils for
Dr. Kirk. Dr. Kirk worked for Umbrella, basically.
Yeah, basically you could have it in the same universe, but it's an isolated incident on an island, and that is it. And it could be Trat is another version of BSAA. And
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on one thing, John. Just keep the time travel. Because I
do want to keep that.
Keep the time travel for
I do agree.
Yeah.
Because then Dino Crisis 2 wouldn't work,
Yes. Okay, Capcom, for the love of God, remake Dino Crisis 1 and Dino Crisis 2. Yes, Dino Crisis 2 was awesome.
That was even more of an action game. That was so crazy when you could buy guns at those little panels, those shop panels and stuff.
I just realised something as well. Another thing for remakes, and that, for remakes, and like backing them up and saying they're good. Game preservation is dire. You cannot play old games.
True.
PS Plus is proving that, we're either not getting certain games or they don't care or can't get them.
Do not get me started on PS Plus Premium, because I am in
missed opportunity.
I am in the fuming, because I actually got into an argument with one guy on Twitter, as you do.
No.
Because yes, I know it's very because when they dropped the PS Plus for the games in general for the month, we got one PS1 game. And I was like, PS Premium is a scam. And be like, oh, what are you talking about? Then I'm like, listen, I bought this. I'm paying a gazillion euros a year for this because I wanted PS1 games, because they said we were going to get PS1 games. There have been literal months that we have got not one PS1 or PS2 games.
This year, I don't think. No, it's PS3 games, I think it's been.
And that is, and obviously this must come down to licensing. I mean, because there is no good reason why you cannot put the OG Resident Evil,
all of them on. Not all of them, just Dino Crisis 1 and 2, we don't need 3.
Exactly.
We'll just make 3 doesn't exist.
Why?
All the Silent Hills.
Oh yeah, 3 needs rebooting like Dead Space. 3
exactly.
3 needs to just not be around, at all.
But anyway, because we're going to go off topic again. HD, come on. Games that you would like to see remastered, and why Parasite Eve being one of them.
Oh my god, my guy. Oh, please. Square Enix, please. Jesus.
I don't trust them to
Parasite
do anything.
Eve remake. Oh my word. Yeah, I mean, I lost faith in them with Marvel Avengers. But I actually regained some of that faith with Guardians of the Galaxy. I enjoyed that. But I mean, that's a completely different game to Parasite Eve, right? Parasite Eve was literally it was a heavyweight contender in the survival horror sort of genre back in the day. It was up there with Resident Evil. A great series for you guys to watch. Survival horror is my favorite genre of video games, so I'll always go straight there. You want to watch a really great series on YouTube around Resident Evil clones. It's actually called that. Modern Resident Evil clones by Avalanche Reviews.
Yes.
Avalanche Reviews.
Oh my god.
Makes fantastic
the best
videos.
Person
The best.
Avalanche I'm watching Reviews. It right now. All 5 videos compiled to one. I'm watching it.
There we go. John, you see our minds, we in sync here, my guy. We're in sync. I'm really hoping that Exoprimal is one elaborate sort of
online
sort of
component.
data gathering sort of scheme to find out how, people's appetites around dinosaurs, getting a dinosaur game.
Yeah,
So they
I do think there's
gear up
something
for
to
it. For Dino Crisis Remake. I mean, I'll always say that. So, I mean, games I like to see remastered, and this is the ARB 1, the ARB 2 that I said I'd really like to see. And this goes back to PS1 games. We were talking about gems, and a little funny one as well. So the funny one I'll start with first. We're talking about platformers being remade. Imagine we got a Croc.
Oh, you took my one. You took my one, you bastard. But yes,
Croc, my guy, Croc will be cool. Croc and the Gobos, Legend of the Gobos.
Yeah.
There we go. So a little bit of funny one there, but I would really, I mean, on the survival harder track, I'd like to see an Alone in the Dark remake.
That is coming. That is coming.
What?
Do you know that THQ are remaking Alone in the Dark?
THQ. Now that is a name. I haven't heard in a while.
Interactive are actually doing it. I did a whole video on this.
I'm
if you
Pisces.
check out my channel, guys. But yeah, they're remaking it. It's going to be two perspectives of the man and the woman. I can't remember their names, and it's
forget the
I'd say
name,
double A standard. Don't expect Resident Evil 4, but
I wasn't ever the biggest Alone in the Dark fan, but I remember playing. I almost said a New Nightmare, but I can't remember the one that was on PS2. It was actually G-Flash. It was G-Flash's game, Danny.
Yeah.
That I bought it from, and it was absolutely amazing. I thought it was really cool. So I would like to see that. And I would actually, there's a game that I played back in the day that not a lot of people have played. It's more of an action beat 'em up / harder themed game, and it was called Nightmare Creatures.
Yes, that inspired Bloodborne. That literally inspires
very,
Bloodborne.
very, very Bloodborne. It's an old English sort of town, and you're fighting werewolves and vampires kind of thing, and zombies.
What? What's this called again? I've never heard of this game.
Nightmare Creatures, and there is a sequel to it as well, which is
Nightmare Creatures. Good. Yeah, I never played the sequel, but you play. I remember his name was not Ignatius.
I think.
The two characters. The one is Nadia, the chick with the sword, and you get a guy with the pole.
Yeah,
not a scythe. It was like a pole kind of thing. I think his name was Ignatius or something like that.
That was a really good one. If you watch Kid Icarus, he does good videos on that as well.
I forget this channel on YouTube, but he does a lot of live streaming of old classic PS1 games. It's like Vice TV or something, like WEISS TV. I can't remember the name of the channel, but I remember when he posted him playing Nightmare Creatures, man, I watched like an hour and a half of that stream. I was like, damn, and the nostalgia was just like washing over me. Good. Yeah, it was such a good game, and it was so odd back in there, but all the ingredients for a really good horror game is there. I mean, I think the closest thing that probably would have came to a similar game was The Order, 1886.
Yeah.
That sort of theme, that sort of steampunk, sort of old English theme, you know. But Nightmare Creatures was, it was brutal. Brutal. And the main villain was Aleister Crowley. Is it Aleister Crowley?
Yes, because it was a demon. Yeah, it was a demon. Aleister Crowley, which I love because supernatural.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I would pick. That's
okay. Jontas, what were your games? If Sony came to you and say, "It's Jontas, here we want to listen to you now. What games do you want us to remake? And we'll pay a gazillion euros or dollars or pounds."
Yeah, if I had to, let's call it 5. So obviously Metal Gear Solid, and also Dino Crisis. I would want the Getaway remake, because that was such a good, just the original. Black Monday wasn't too bad, but let's see how the original goes first. But yeah, I think that needs a remake, because it's like GTA London, and we need a GTA set in London anyway, or in the UK. I genuinely think if they did it right, the original Assassin's Creed, just the first game. But I'm talking if Ubisoft hit their prime and they went back to amazing. So that's going to be a cautious fourth. But so let's just count it as bonus actually. So let's go back to 4th and 5th. What else? Oh God.
No pressure.
Any PS. So we've got the Getaway, Metal Gear, and Dino Crisis. I think Simpsons Hit and Run. That's got to be remade.
Okay.
Dude, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Oh my God!
That shit.
Alien.
Three-player online co-op. Boom. Let's go.
But it have to be in 2D though. You couldn't make it 3D. 2D side scrolling. Just improve the graphics.
2D side scrolling, but in a 3D format.
Okay.
I think there's so much room for remakes because you could take something, to be honest, like Siphon Filter, that Ben Studio stuff, that you could do that again. I think that could be, God, so much better.
True.
So I would one thing I would love to see remade, which is a really niche one, but I don't know if anyone remembers it. But Jurassic Park: The Lost World Trespasser.
Oh no!
They could do that so
much to
well.
get that working on my PC.
It absolutely runs like absolute ass. But if they got that in a playable state and they could redo that, oh my God.
Okay, fair enough. I actually had that game and it traumatized me how bad it was. All right, that the way, like you know. Okay, so for those who don't know, think first person, right? Crap first person. You've got your gun in one hand. Even a shotgun is being held by one hand.
No, Octodad, but dinosaurs.
Yes,
that's how you describe it.
And the one thing that annoyed the shit out of me was when you moved like to the left or right. You like you say Octodad. You wouldn't keep your gun still. Your gun would like wave. You know,
the physics
in your hand.
Weird in that game.
And exactly, and then you had raptors running around you, and like as you're turning around, your gun's like, I can't shoot. What's going on? That game annoyed the shit out of me, and I'm angry to this day. But like John just says, if they can remake it,
was such a great concept.
It was a great concept, but it was just done
executed awfully. Executed awfully. It's one of them games where it could be done so much better nowadays, which is why I think that could be like an actual good fourth one. I think the last one I could potentially think about, you've got to have something from the PS3 era, because we don't see enough of them. I wouldn't say necessarily a reboot, maybe a fourth game, maybe a reboot all in all, but Resistance.
The moment you said PS3, that's the first game that popped in my head. I never played those.
There's so much potential for that. I only played the first one briefly because I went Xbox for that era. But yeah, I think there's so much potential with that. So yeah, I think there's 4 easy picks for me. I think the most niche one you could really, really think about for like PlayStation. I mean, if you go right back and they like redo the very first Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, but like in the same way as in Over the Head, or as in like GTA 5.
They could do GTA 1, 2, and is it 1, 2, and London all as like a package remastered exactly how they were, top down, but like improved visuals, in the same style. So, but I think legitimately remaking the very first GTA in modern, contemporary way could be sick.
Just give us GTA 6. That's what I want. Just give us. Bring us back to Vice City, man.
Faith. No. Oh no. Scrap that. The last one. Red Dead Revolver.
I would love for that to be remade. Even more than I want Red Dead Redemption to be remastered. If not remade as well.
You asking for a lot there. That game's not going to be remastered.
The sole reason I want that to be remastered, not even remade, built from the ground up, the way that they, like they did Crash, basically. Like Vicarious Games did Crash. It was a very good example. It was so accurate to the original game, but graphically updated. Do the exact same with that game.
Okay. My games would have to be, alright, so this is a bit of a niche one as well. I don't think a lot of people know it, but for the PS1, Future Cop LAPD. HC might remember that.
I watched a video about that. I'll link you the video.
I mean, it's a good concept, futuristic, and you're playing in a cop car that turns into a mech on an instant. And for anyone who's listening to this, go look up gameplay on that. I loved it, and
that was crazy.
And it had a multiplayer air quotations.
Where you shared health.
Yeah, did we share health? Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, you shared health,
Yeah.
so if one of you died, you both died.
Yeah. And then you could play a multiplayer like this. This was a map where you had to take bases, and you played against an AI called Sky Captain. And I can still to this day hear his screams in my ear every time because you played the mech and he was an airplane. And every time you shot him down, you go like, like this weird ass scream.
And if we're talking about niche games, I don't know if I can. This is demo disc level.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But it was a game where it was like an arena, and you each started on a corner, and it was kind of like 3D but angled at the side, and you'd pick up things and you'd kill each other. And one of them was like an almost gladiator guy with blade hands. And it was on a demo disc, and you die in gruesome ways, and for the life of me, cannot figure out what that is. That is something I'd love to know what it is, because that could be an easy remake, because it was popular, but I can't remember the name. And then another one, I don't know if anyone remembers it, but it's like Shattered Memories, Book of Memories, something like that. This guy gets stabbed. No, it wasn't Silent Hill. It was like it, but this guy gets slashed in the back at the start of the game and gets taken to the devil, and he has to come back and do things. Anime.
Soul Reaver?
No.
That's like Darkness.
No, it's something like anime level, and it's modern day, and you basically walk around this town, you get slashed in the back, it's a bit like Devil May Cry, but it's all about choices and puzzles.
Okay.
And this guy gets what was it called? Shattered Dreams or something, or the Book of Memories or something.
PS1.
No, it's PS2, early PS2.
Oh, it's PS2. Okay, early PS2.
Oh, okay.
I've got a very niche game for you guys.
Okay.
And this will actually be a very crazy remake. Do you guys remember the PS1 game Loaded?
No.
Do you remember Loaded? So the cover of Loaded, it had like this dude in like this clown mask, but it was almost like a Rorschach, Rorschach from The Watchmen. Like that kind of material, but it was like a clown face painted on it. And he's holding this big ass gun like towards the camera, if you want to pull it that.
I'm looking at it now.
And it was a top-down shooter, brutal and bloody as hell. And it was really dark and dingy, and it was like very brutal and bloody, and it was just like a shooter, and you had different characters that you can pick. So I remember that dude, the clown, he had like this gun that shot like this big flame balls, and there was like a cowboy, like a sort of like, I think it was like an undead cowboy, and he had like twin shooters and different characters with different guns. That was epic, and I'd like to see that sort of be.
This looks very manhuntery. Could that be?
It is very. I almost said very. I almost did say man, but it just so like
Shadow Man.
Shadow Man! Oh, dude, yeah, Shadow Man. I remember that game. Yeah,
Shadow Man would be such a good one.
But hold on.
Not too long ago, aren't
they doing a Shadow Man remake or remaster? I'm sure I've heard about this.
They did a remaster of literally the PS1. It was a mess.
That was a comic or something before, wasn't it? Something like that. It was in some sort of media before.
I think it could be based off
a graphic novel.
It could be based off a graphic novel, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Loaded. Yeah. And another game for me would be, well, I said it already, Soul Reaver. I think the Soul Reaver fans.
I would have picked that, but I knew you were picking that. And that's Square Enix, so that's bound to happen.
True.
I think.
How about? Okay, go.
I was going to say, Soul Reaver is one that it did so much that people still to this day find new things.
That's crazy.
And you get to play a vampire that's undead.
Souls,
a zombie vampire. What's not to love?
What's not to love? Yeah, exactly.
And this one is like my favorite PS2 game of all time was Medal of Honor Frontline Assault.
Oh, I borrowed that game from you, I think.
Yes.
Well, I played it at your place.
Oh, God,
back in the day.
the original Medal of Honor.
You could play as like a velociraptor in that game for some reason, like in the multiplayer.
Oh yeah, I think that was on the PS1, Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
But the PS2 game, I've got it here, and I played it the other day. The controls have aged terribly. That's why I want a remake or a remaster. Yeah. But dude, I played that game till I was blue in the face. The beach landing for its time was
epic. But just look at what this discussion point is, right? Sorry, not to belabor the point at all, but look what we propagating the issue here, right? We are wanting developers and stuff to make new things and all of these things, but we wanting them to hark back as well. And I'm just thinking, and it just makes me think. I just think back to PS1 and like how every game that came out was so wholly original.
Yeah.
And it was so different from everything else. There was nothing that was similar like the next thing. You know, I wanted to bring up, I wanted to bring up, remember MDK? Remember that freaking game? MDK, Murder, Death, Kill. Man, it rings a bell. That's such a great, and you played this character with like this pointy head kind of thing. I think it was like a dude in a suit. And
okay, I'm seeing it now. Yeah, I'm seeing it now.
Remember MDK or PS1? And I'm just like
how do you find like these niche games? Because I remember this.
I got bought all of these back in the day.
Do you remember? There's a game. It was called C12 Final Resistance.
Nope, but I'm looking that up now.
Very familiar.
You'll know what it is when you see it, and it was on a demo disc, and I played the shit out of that demo disc just for this one level of the game.
I remember this. Yeah. I remember this.
Your next podcast should be demo discs and niche games.
I mean the kids nowadays. I'm telling you, dude. The kids today will not know the joy of going down to your local shop and buying a gaming magazine and getting that demo disc. Because we didn't have internet there. If you needed a guide for a game, you had to wait like a month for the magazine to come out.
Yeah.
And then, dude, those were good times.
Honestly, though, there's nothing compares to. I loved the style of the PS1 box. They should have just modernized that for PS5. I think there's no reason for the PS5 boxes to be the size they are, especially with all the environmental stuff going on right now. This is the time to shrink it back down to CD case levels, and having a book, like nothing compared to having the book.
Yeah.
And like all that kind of stuff. But I need to find these PS1 demo games because like I remember in so many like Mr. Domino and stuff and
good times.
The nostalgia has us, guys. The nostalgia has us. It has us by the balls.
It's true.
Medieval 2. Medieval 2. I want that remade as well.
Goodie. That's a goodie.
I never played I never played. Oh, hold on. Who's got an echo?
Yeah. That's me. I was just about to say my headset just went. So I got it plugged in.
Technical issues.
Oh god, if
issues, guys.
it's always HD.
It's always got to be me.
Okay, well I think it's
I've also got 10 minutes of power left, by the way.
Oh yes. Okay, yeah.
South Africa.
Correct. Yes. Not daylight savings time. What's it called again? HD.
It's called load shedding. It's
load shedding.
Like daylight savings.
Exactly. I don't know why I thought that, but anyway, I think it's a good point to jump off now because HD's internet is literally going to go away in 10 minutes. So, thank you both HD and Jontis for joining me on this nostalgia trip. I really enjoyed our chat today. We've got more videos like these on the channel, the Game On podcast. Thank you again, HD, for joining. Thank you, Jontis, for coming. Do you want to plug anything quickly, Jontis? Your channel?
No. Apart from literally, if you want to hear more of Platt's voice on another channel, we did our kind of my podcasty thing on there. And also, like I said, I'm inspired by Platt with his new, his trophy content. So hopefully, get something for RE4 soon. If you liked my voice, I don't know, and you want to hear more of it.
All right, perfect. So, thanks again, both of you, for joining. Thanks everyone for watching it and making this far. And I'll see you all next time.
See ya.
Peace out.